Alright, this video isn't actually called Remake, but you may have seen a review for Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's WC 2011 over the Nexus on my channel already. But, next day, right after recording it and uploading it, the next day, I immediately realized there was a bunch of stuff that, well, not a bunch, but there was enough stuff that I should have said, a couple things I didn't really need to go far in-depth into, so if you're watching it now, the old one's been removed, so just enjoy this one. And if you did watch it before, thank you, because it helps me. So let's pop it in, turn it on the power, and turn it on. And just in case you're wondering about this Christmas-like blanket, even though it's not really, well, it's close to, got a few months still, something happened. So let's turn the volume up. So I've already beaten the game, just like WC 2010, after you beat the game, you can replay story mode by hitting this. So let's just hit continue for the purpose of the review. Now, first thing at the top screen, it's pretty much the same, except you don't have, like, images. Well, I guess you could call them achievements. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. You have your name, location of deck, name for your ground duel deck, location, your rating, star chips, which are, they've returned in this game, Wi-Fi coins, ranked duel coins, whatever you want to call them, and the amount of DP that you have. So, first, let's talk about story mode. The story mode, the interface, is pretty much the same as the old one, except, well, as you can see, you're directly brought into the menu. If you hit X, it takes you back to that menu instead of another menu where you can, like, change your image and deck and stuff like that. So, that is pretty nice. And it's pretty much the same thing, you know, you run around, characters, I believe it takes place during Season 3 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's. I don't watch the series. I don't watch the series, but that's where there's, basically, with Crash Town, which is renamed Satisfaction Town. And, by the way, I have a question to you guys. Now, I don't follow the series, but I believe in WC 2010, well, actually, no, I don't believe this, in WC 2010, the gang, with Yusei, Jack, Crow, and Kalen, and your character in that game, is called the Enforcers, but in this game it's called Team Satisfaction. So, was the Enforcers, was that something that, was that a Japanese translation, or was that the actual name in Team Satisfaction, or, was an error, or, well, doesn't seem like it, or was there some story behind it? I believe that it seemed that the Enforcers was a translation mistake, but only you have to save in story mode to save your progress in story mode. Next thing I want to talk about is Free Duel. You have the same options, but this time they added Turbo Duel and Tag Turbo Duel to Free Duel, which means they added Tag Turbo Duels to this game, which is kind of nice. And if you get 90% card completion, you will knock up to one forbidden card in your deck, and Recipe Duel. And you can change a couple settings right there. But let's just start a duel with an opponent. So, why not? Now, as you can see, it gives you the option to select different music. You hit L and R and you unlock more. Here, let me turn it up. This is more of a gimmick because I don't really care about it. And I'm pretty sure most people don't either. So, just a gimmick. Also, if you duel an opponent in Crash Town or Satisfaction Town, instead of playing rock, paper, scissors, to see who goes first, you have to hit a series of 5 buttons before your opponent. That determines who goes first. And if you turbo duel someone in the stadium, you have like a really, really short race to determine who goes first. So, anyway, this is pretty much the interface. Now let me just start the duel first. Doesn't matter who goes first or second. Well, convenient that I'm going first. But, the first thing you'll notice, the interface is changed. It's much simpler. See, it's 2D instead of 3D. You still have summon animations, which I'm a little disappointed. I noticed they took some of them out. Not that it matters that much, but 2 of them that I noticed are gone. were the ones for Embodiment of Apophis and the one for Dark Paladin. Also, it doesn't show an image of your character's face at the top. It just shows a generic face. It becomes smiling if you're winning, frowning if you're losing, and right now it's just a straight face. And it smiles when you regain life points, and frowns when you take damage. And in a turbo duel, speed counters, it shows your count right there, and for your opponent, right there. In the empty space. Now, I'd imagine one reason they did this was to reduce lag, because if you don't know, lag has been a problem with a bunch of other games. Really, anything after WC08, for whatever reason. I also have card sleeves, but I'll have to explain that later. Next feature. Let's say you're new to this game and you don't know what to do. So, there's a very handy feature. If you hit start, you have to wait a little bit, but you hit start, and it gives you a recommended decision. So, it says to set Super Nimble Mega Hamster. So we'll do that. Also, let's place one card face down. This is to demonstrate that, well, I have Card Protector, but, okay, every time you set a card, if you cannot use it, because it's the turn you set it, it turns gray, and, let me end my turn. The color fills in the next turn. Of course, if your opponent does this, then, you know, it'll do that for every card, because otherwise it'd be a dead giveaway if they're just bluffing. So, that is one, feature that's new to the interface. Also, after every duel that, wasn't a forced duel, like by story mode or something, you play, well, actually, after every duel, you have the option to save it as a replay. And you can view those. Oh, sorry about that. Also, but if it's, okay. But if it's not like restore mode, you play this memory game afterwards where you have 9 cards. If you match 2 cards, you get to keep 1 copy. And there's a DP one which gives you some DP, and a surrender one which ends the game immediately. And the memory game, and a card that's a picture of Luna, and it's it lets you miss 1. But if you get the surrender card, it still ends it. Also, if you view in the top left corner of that, there's 5 stars. One of them is filled in. That basically is the amount of chances you get that you can miss some. I heard that to get more than 1, you have to duel with that person 5 times in whatever type of duel it is. And you can do that to get 3 stars, then there's something else for 4 and 5. I don't know. I don't care enough to actually find it out, because I don't like the memory game that much. I think it just takes up too much time. This game still uses friend codes, and it has online. You can still use your Wi-Fi coins to download stuff, including card protectors. Now, here's the user settings menu. You can change your image, basically the same as it was before. Same thing with customizing your duel runner. Same thing with tag settings and fixed text. Now this one is cool, manage save games. Remember how in WC 2010, there was that issue where you couldn't save a lot of stuff, like download puzzles and ghost opponents? Well, this game kind of fixes that. You have a system of blocks that you can save a amount of stuff for. It has more memory than the previous game for stuff like this, but you can manage it too. So, obviously deck recipes, they only take up 1 block per one, so that's nice. There's also pretty much not a limit for deck recipes, just until you run out of blocks. So, deck menu. Deck construction, pretty much the same thing. There's a really good card selection. I'd say it pretty much has... It has all the cards you'll want to use, pretty much, like all the normal monsters that were released in those booster packs back in the previous century in Japan. They're not gonna have those in this game. But all the cards you'll want to use, you'll probably find. Same thing with the password machine. This is all pretty much the same thing. Oh yes, one nice thing. You can now create your own duel puzzles. That's very nice, but I feel the features are very limited. I'll show you. So, like the pink stylus, I'm not gay, it's just what I have. Not that I have anything against gay people, or that I think that liking pink is a stereotype of that. Just want to throw that out there. But anyway, let's not talk about that too much, so we'll just throw this out. We'll just view a card, why not? We'll just choose this one because it's first. What's it called? Hold on. Calm Serenity of Gusto. So, it's pretty easy, like, to place a card on the field. Select a card, and you can hit change card to change the card, change the battle position. We'll place it, why not, we'll place it in defense position. You can move the card on the field, add another copy of it, or remove it. Same thing with cards that are spells and traps, cards in the deck, graveyard, remove from play, extra deck, and the cards in your hand. Same thing, you can set it for your opponent too. Now, there's a, one thing I really don't like. You cannot set a target for a card, unless it's an equipped spell card. Like, for Spellbinding Circle. I was gonna create a puzzle that used that, but I couldn't because I can't select a target for it. Now that really does suck a lot, because that, you look at the puzzles that you can download, that's usually a part of it. Another thing, you cannot use any type of counters. Now this makes me mad because, other than spell counters, I was going to create a puzzle that revolved around BES cards and Big Core, but I can't do that now because I cannot place the counters on it. So, in my opinion, the dual puzzle editor is okay, as long as you're you think of something that doesn't require that. You can also upload them online too, and you can share them. Forbidden and Limited card list. I think the Forbidden and Limited card choice selection is okay. It is pretty balanced. I mean, Heavy Storm is forbidden. I don't like that a lot. Call of the Haunted is limited, and so is well, actually, yeah, Monster Reborn. And Cyber Dragon is now unlimited, so you can have 3 copies of it. So it's pretty balanced if you ask me. And actually now in September, for September 2011, they added a new one, and you can use 2 copies of Swords of Revealing Light, which is pretty cool. So, one more thing I want to talk about with deck construction. They did add something that is pretty cool. Well, it's a gimmick, but people will like it and people will not like it too. You can have card sleeves. So, like, by default it has 4, with blue, red, black, and silver. This one I downloaded off of Wi-Fi. Apparently, you can download them off of Wi-Fi. This one's called Usay number 2. Apparently there was one last week called Usay number 1. These are using your Wi-Fi coins. So, yeah. Alright, so next thing. Oh wow, I'm already like 12 minutes in. Records, you can basically the same thing as before. Dual statistics, play history, record, race record, view replays. The next thing, tutorial. You can get, well, I'll explain that, but you can view hints and stuff. Basically like the last game, but you can also get your deck rated. Now, don't take the rating too literal, because let's say you use something like for Destiny board and you just happen to have a lot of spell cards and not a lot of monsters. Well, this one gets a high rating. It's normal themed, I guess, where you win by reducing your opponent's life points, not alternate win. But it says that the theme is synchro. It explains the balance, but like this one says that I have a lot of trap cards and I have to be careful because make sure that I don't rely too much on the traps. So yeah, it says that I have a lot of special summons and I gotta be careful about destroy cards and stuff. I mean, that I have a lot of destroy card stuff, and I have revive, replace, careful of Stardust Dragon and Royal Prussian and Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure. But yeah, it's a pretty good deck anyway, but just don't take it too literal, because it says at the bottom it's just an approximation of how it might perform. And last thing, a dual calculator. Same thing as it was in the last game, except it doesn't, well, exit. I know I didn't show you it too much, but except it's not in the main menu. So, anyway, that pretty much wraps up my review of this game. Overall, it's a very good game in my opinion. There's glitches, of course, and bugs, but they don't affect gameplay. Races, like dual runner racing, does return in this game. That's something I should mention. It's pretty much the same as it was in the previous game, and the game before that. And there are some new frames too, like the Omega Hawk frame, which is the one I used. I think it looks kind of, well, some might say it's kind of girly. I just used it because it's fast. That's how I S-ranked all the races. And they added another one, called Battle Royale, or it's basically survival where you have the dual robots shooting ally salvo at you, and you have to dodge it. It's kind of hard, actually, but I don't think you can unlock anything by, S-ranking it. Although, there's one card that you have to use the engine that, I forget what it's called, but there's an engine in this game and the previous game, and a CPU that you can download off Wi-Fi. That, CPU chip, not, opponent. That, like, gives you rare cards when you get the blue card on the race, on the ground. There's a card called Speed Spell Deceased Synchron. That's the only way you can get it. And as far as I know, there might be, well, I believe the only reason I have Speed Spell Delinquent below is because I picked it up off of a race. That might be the way with the Speed Spell Raigeki, because I don't have it yet. I don't even know if it's in the game. So, overall, the story mode is pretty fun. There's none of the... What makes me happy is that you don't have to do any of the, dodging securities, while staying out of their sight to get something. And that was pretty hard, so I'm kind of glad that's gone. But, overall, it's a good game. Sometimes it just seems like your luck isn't the best. And with all the features in the interface, I will give it an 8 out of 10, so it scores pretty high in my opinion. Of course, it has online, same features, and you can actually turtle duel online now. Of course, if you don't like Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're not going to like this game at all. And I don't really collect the cards anymore because they are kind of expensive. I think $3 for 9 cards is a ripoff. And if it's first edition, possibly $4. And even less if it's a terminal pack. So, yes, if you like Yu-Gi-Oh! And the World Championship Series games, then I think you'll like this game because it has the 5D story mode again. Of course, the places like the, whatever it was called, the old energy system, whatever it was called, where you battle the Dark Signers, that's not in this game. Also, outside of the stadium, that area that's connected to the Damon area, it's also gone. And a lot of opponents, don't return. I don't know, I think that, oh, you can stop watching at this point if you're bored, but, Rally and, Nervin and those characters, I don't even know if they were in WC 2010. But that's besides the point, so thanks for watching this video. And stay tuned in the future for future videos. Hopefully I'll be able to review games that will be more popular than this one.